This program is brought to you by Pussy Magnets.
Put a midge on your friend with a pussy magnet.
Welcome, welcome, my lovely lumps. Or maybe let's go with lovely labs. That's pretty on brand. Anyway, I'm so thrilled to have you here in the Labia Lounge. We're going to be yarning about all things sexuality, intimacy, womanhood, relating, holistic health, and everything in between. We're going to have vag loads of real chats with real people about real shit. So buckle up because you're about to receive the sex ed that you never had and hopefully have a bit of a chuckle while you're at it. Before we get stuck in, I'd like to respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which I'm recording this, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. It's a massive privilege to be living and creating dope podcast content in Naarm, and I just want to pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. Now, if you're ready, let's flap and do this.
Don't panic, you're not broken. Your sex education was a piece of shit. Get your flaps out and pull up the couch. It's the Labia Lounge.
G'day, gang. Just before we get started, I want to share a resource from my friends at Safe Bay, a youth and survivor-led organisation in the US working to prevent sexual violence among young people. They just launched something called Vibe Check. It's a free, fully anonymous, self-guided tool for anyone who's wondering if they, or even if a friend, might have crossed a boundary or caused harm. It helps you think things through without judgment and points you toward real next steps and resources. You can check it out at checkyourvibe.org, and I've linked it in the show notes as well because I really, truly believe in this resource, and I think it's an incredible tool that I'm so glad somebody has created, and they haven't used any AI in the creation of this. It's all come from real experience and knowledge that they've been collating for years and years as an organisation from students and survivors. So please go check it out, send it to someone you know with teenagers, somehow get it in front of, in particular, the young boys in your world. And if you haven't already, I'd highly recommend checking out Safe Bay and my previous podcast episode that we've done around sexual violence prevention in schools and universities. So now, into the episode. It's a pretty special one. It's a different type of format to a lot of my usual episodes where I interview guest experts on specific topics. This is one of the fun and funky fresh live editions where I go and I set up a big plush velvet pussy couch, an actual IRL Labia Lounge, and I interview guests. So sometimes I set this up at festivals. Sometimes I set this up at sex parties. This is my fourth, I think, installment of Virtue and Vice Play Party episodes where I interview punters on the Labia Lounge at these big events at Melbourne Pavilion run by Virtue and Vice. As usual, sound quality is pretty subpar because I'm in a big room where a sex party is going on all around and there are amazing performances happening, there's DJs, there's an enormous sound system, and so sometimes, especially if I was mid-interview and a performance started, the music would crank up and get louder. So then the sound quality, once I've removed the background noise, isn't amazing, and that's why it sort of sounds like people are yelling, even though I've taken out the background noise. They were still speaking quite loudly over loud music. This will be the last of these episodes I do for some time. I need to take a break. I need to give my vocal cords a rest. I actually have discovered recently that I have cysts on my vocal cords from having such a high vocal load. And if you're a regular listener of the podcast, you might have noticed that my voice has been getting progressively worse and more husky and weaker over the last sort of year and a half. In particular, when I do these events at festivals or parties, basically by the end of the night, and actually nowadays by the start of the night, my voice is fucked. So I need to take a break from doing these, and I just can't be recording in really loud environments like that anymore for the sake of my voice. And my poor little vocal cords, which is quite sad. However, if you would like me at your event, or you are putting on something where it's not going to be too noisy, or I can be tucked away somewhere where it's quiet, and you'd like me to come and appear with the Pussy Couch and perhaps interview guests to turn into an episode which will promote your event, or do icebreaker activities, or disseminate little conversation cues and challenges and cards to people at the event to sort of help them feel comfortable and integrate or ease in, or approach someone new and speak to them, I am totally available for that. I still love doing events. I will have to charge from now on, though. I can't keep doing these events for free. It's an enormous amount of work, and it's really taken its toll on my vocal cords and my energy levels. So that is totally an option. Get in touch with me if you're keen on something like that, because the Labia Lounge still exists and I still love taking it to events, but I am going to have a big break from doing these sort of louder parties and the free events. Anyway, there's some really cool chats in this. I hope you enjoy, and please get in touch with any thoughts or feedback. So many people came up to me at the last couple events and told me that I was the reason that they were there, or that my episodes gave them the confidence and comfortability to explore these events. And it just makes my heart absolutely sing when somebody comes up and introduces themselves and just wants to say hi, because my podcast or my work has played a role in their journey. I'll let you get stuck into the episode now. Enjoy. So you said first timer.
I am a first timer.
What brought you here?
Curiosity, sexual exploration.
Amazing.
Sick of talking a big game about stuff and educating people on what's out there and helping them to feel safe, and realizing I haven't done any of it myself.
So what do you do?
First and foremost, I'm a disability advocate.
Epic.
And one of my big things this year has been to try and make sex more accessible to people with disability.
This is fucking sick. I always meet the perfect people to chat to. I literally, for context to the listeners, I just pulled you out of the dunnies.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're like, my fucking friends are late. They said they'd be here at 7. They're not fucking here. And I was like, well, if you need to kill some time, come and sit on the fucking Labia Lounge.
Why not?
So good on you. Yeah, love that you're doing that work in the disability space, because, yeah, that sort of intersection with disability and sexuality is very neglected and very important. So I'm really glad to be talking to you.
Well, people with disability tend to either be fetishized or infantilized.
Yeah.
When they're educated about sex, it's usually from a very clinical standpoint, and it's about where babies come from. Never does it ever come from a pleasure position. So that is something I'm trying to change, and help people feel comfortable in exploring their sexuality. Particularly people that are hung up on things like mobility aids and things like that, and showing them how that can still be sexy, and you can actually use that to, add some spice to your sex life.
Epic. Oh, well, I just did a podcast episode pretty recently called Dating with a Disability.
Mm-hmm.
The guest wrote a book called Dating with a Disability.
Yes.
And then, yeah, this has sort of just been floating around in my sphere a little bit more. I do some disability support work, and I'm a sex educator and sex
Amazing.
coach. So
Love
it's
it.
not my specialty niche, but I'm trying to obviously learn more everywhere I go and upskill. And pretty much the reason that you cited for being here is the reason that I came to my first one. It's I just think as a professional in the sort of sex education, sex coaching space, and I'm recommending people try different things and whatever, I need to know what's out there, and I need to at least dip my toe in and check it out myself if I'm going to be able to give quality recommendations.
And that's it, right? It's all well and good to do some research, and I've certainly done that. But when people actually ask me what it's like, I'm like, well, this is what I've heard. And they're like, yeah, but what's it like? And I'm like, well, I haven't been, So I'm like, okay, I'm going to start doing this, especially from an accessibility standpoint.
Yes. Yeah.
Where you get questioned, well, how accessible are the venues?
Totally.
And, a lot of lifestyle lounges are not accessible.
Yep.
And that's something that we're trying to change. And a lot of the time it's because they can't gain access to funding opportunities to make them accessible because they're sex on premises. So something I'm trying to bring to, Parliament now is the fact that they need to open up, these funding opportunities, because people with disability need to access them.
Yeah.
Especially since they've removed sex services from the NDIS.
Yes. Oh my God.
Fuck yeah. I'm so excited to be talking to you. You're doing epic work.
I mean, I'm trying to.
You are.
You know,
You are.
I'm studying. I've just signed on with like Touching Base and working with the Scarlet Alliance, trying to see if we can do something to get sex work back onto the NDIS, see what we can actually do to change that, because people are really suffering right now.
Absolutely.
They just don't have access to safe sex.
My God. And just intimate touch.
Of course.
You know, companionship, all of that. Like it's like a nutrient, you know.
It's
so important.
People miss the fact that this isn't just about, you know, a
Getting
physical
off.
need. Exactly, right? It's also about your mental health. If you don't have access to sex, then your mental health declines. We all crave intimacy. And if you don't ever get to have that, you know, you're really going to feel that. And they're worried about loneliness. Well, hello, that's probably one of the quickest way to connect.
Yeah. While I've got you here, I do yoni mapping therapy and internal pelvic release work as well.
Amazing.
And I recently had a client who is sort of dealing with some, MS and carpal tunnel and very weak wrists. And so she brought her different sex toys and trying to like workshop how, like what toys might be the best, because she gets really, her wrist gets tired and sore quite quickly.
I understand that.
And we were kind of talking about like different ways around this and different gadgets and things like that. What would you recommend in that sort of situation?
So I have heard there's a couple of options. The first is that I have heard things like vibrators being used on things like microphone stands to actually hold them in place. Particularly if they're a thrusting one is an option.
Because because the microphone stand has like a longer lever and the microphone holder grips.
Yeah, and you could lay down and sort of move towards it.
Yep. Okay.
I've not tried it, but I have heard that is an option from some other advocates. I suppose things like wearables are going to be a good option. The other thing I would say is app controlled. Is if you actually have something that you can hold temporarily or insert a good bullet or something, for example, and you actually give access to a partner or even someone that you talk to online, someone you chat with remotely, give them access and they can control it so you can go hands-free.
Cool. Is there anything that you just feel like you want to share in terms of stuff that you're always trying to, you know, spread awareness about or advocate for, or find yourself trying to repeat far and wide that you want to platform, like while I've got you and this is going on a podcast?
Yeah, look, I think the biggest thing is that disabled adults are not children. Even if they have an intellectual disability, even if they're nonverbal, doesn't matter what the disability is, they're not children. They still have sexual urges. They still experience hormonal changes. They still want access to sex, even if they can't articulate that that's what they want. So don't assume that they're not horny, because we all get horny, regardless if we're disabled or not. So actually sit with people. If you're not comfortable having that conversation, find someone who is and allow them to have that conversation. Don't be afraid to educate them properly about sex. Let them know that it's okay to masturbate, to want to seek out sex. It's fine. Like, don't look at them as not having the capacity to understand or have sexual need, because they, I can assure you, experience desire.
Yeah. Amazing. We can talk about the fact that you've been married for 5 years and you've just opened your marriage.
Should we talk about that?
Yeah, we can go back to the questions, but that's the money. Like, and so how recently have you opened it up, and is this your like inaugural voyage into the non-monog space, like coming tonight?
Into non-monogamy, yes. So we've been married for 5 years, 3 years. We've been together for 5 years, but and we're in a queer marriage. So like we're both women. We both decided before we get married that at some point we would be interested in non-monogamy, but we just like feel out our vibes first. And that was like the journey we wanted to go on. So about a month ago, we decided to open things up. It was like a couple months of conversation first. And it's been really interesting. Like I've been finding, especially in my journey, having identified as like a lesbian for a really long time, I'm like really exploring other genders, which is like not new because that's something I did when I was younger, but I was like really confident in my lesbianism. And now I'm like, I'm kind of just interested in bodies.
Wow.
I'm like, I kind of just want to see and touch bodies and be curious. and not like try to overly constrict myself.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and so it's been really cool.
And so have you had any experiences yet, either of you, or?
Yes, my wife has. She is like sleeping with somebody that has done that a few times, and I have not, but have some things teed up.
Okay.
So like I got my first like coming video the other day from someone with a penis.
Oh.
Which was really exciting.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is just, and so this is the first time you've explored with male bodies?
No,
Okay.
as a teenager, did a lot of that.
Okay.
Like, did a lot of that.
Okay.
And so, like, my youth in my early 20s, I was really slutty and had fun with it and really identified with it. And then, like, just fell so madly in love and lost that interest completely.
Yep.
And so I think, like, waking up this, like, slut inside me feels incredible. Like, it was like something woke up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so is your wife here tonight?
Is she? No, she's not. I came by myself.
Okay.
So I specifically really was interested in non-monogamy because of kink as well. And because, like, I really want to explore kink more. Before we met, like maybe a year before we met, got a little bit into the kink scene back in Wellington and Aotearoa, New Zealand. Kind of dipped my toe and was a bit like nervous and anxious and didn't have the confidence to keep going by myself. But I'm like, I'm 30, flirty. I'm trying to do it now.
Oh my God, I love this.
Yeah.
Just like, especially with, relationships that start when you're quite young. Like, you might not have done all the exploring that you're like,
Totally.
you've got to do, and you might not be ready to totally, close that door forever.
Yeah.
So I think it's really like cool that you've had that conversation early on and you were realistic about the fact that like you might need to or want to do that. And that'll be, like growth.
Yeah.
That's cool.
100%. Well, that was why we had that conversation when we decided to get married, of both being like,
Yeah.
okay, we're acknowledging that I was 25, she was 27, and we were like, these days that's like really young.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm so sure about this, but I want to make sure that if either of us wants this, the other person isn't going to be really shocked.
Yep.
And that it's not like a scary or an angry thing.
Yeah.
It's like a curiosity. Yeah.
And like you guys have just been nailing it in terms of like navigating it really like kindly and maturely. Like, has it been really challenging? Like,
Mostly. Like it has been really challenging. It's really odd to go from monogamy to non-monogamy.
totally.
And like I've done the research, I've read the books, I've
Yeah.
listened to the podcasts, and so I feel like I was like, how can I like hyper focus on this? And I really like nerded out about it. And I was like, I'm so ready because I know all of the ways that we should. I had my Google Doc. And
Oh my
then
God.
when it came to actually doing it, I was like, oh, all of this was about the fact that I'm going to feel feelings. And I kind of just forgot that. And so when it came to it, I was like, why do I feel like shit?
Oh my
I was
God.
like, why am I so mad at you right now? And like so confused because I'm like so excited about this, but also like, I literally like just turned to my wife when she got home after the first time she slept with someone, and I was like, that was a really weird thing to do. I was like, super weird of you. Because I was like, I don't want to shame you. I don't want to be like, because that's not infidelity or anything like that. It was just a new thing.
It felt weird.
Yeah. But like moving through that was really, I can't think of the word. I don't know. It was like, I feel like revolutionary is a bit intense, but it kind of felt like that in that I always considered myself like a really jealous person. And so I knew this would be an interesting, I guess, like exercise within that personally, like in my own feelings. But I was like initially angry and then upset and then like, okay, how was it? Tell me, was it exciting? And how quickly the next day I was walking about my life going, I'm actually really relieved. I was like, I'm relieved because my like love for you isn't bound into some like archaic contract. And you did this thing, and I feel really good about it. And like it's definitely had like challenging moments. Teething problems were a month in.
Yeah.
But I think on the whole, it's really positive.
Wow. That was such a great explanation. Like, and it's
that's
all so fresh and happening right now. Like, I
fresh.
was just like feeling really lucky to have just nabbed you at this exact moment when you're traversing all of this new territory. It's like just so interesting. And I think like the most helpful for other people in your position to like hear your processes around it and how you're navigating it. Yeah. And also not everyone could do it. It's honestly like, it's pretty huge. So that's impressive.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Damn. Okay. Do you want a question?
Well, let's do a
Or do you want to
question.
skedaddle? You don't have to sit
No,
there.
I'm happy here. What's a hill you die on? Oh, I'm struggling under
And you could
pressure.
make it, I guess, like to make it Labia Lounge coded, you could you could kind of make it a hill you die on around something to do with sexuality.
Okay, cool. Thank you. That's helpful. A hill I would die on is that everyone should try being stimulated around, like, on the clitoral nerve without directly on the clit. Like, how huge that can be. I personally, like, my actual clit where it is, it's, like, almost too sensitive most of the time. And so it's, like, weird to be, like, actually a bit further down because they're like, well, that's where it is. I'm like, I know. However, and so, like, I've had this conversation with so many women that don't have that. However, they've, like, had, I think, such a more intense experience and, like, orgasm when there's been this, like, lead up of that whole nerve being stimulated. And I think that that is something that everyone, not just women, everyone with a vagina should experience, everyone with a vulva.
And so, like, what's your go-to technique? Like, tell people how you stimulate the clitoral nerve,
Like, okay, so step one with the admin is literally, like, look up a diagram of where that is because it's like a wishbone shape. And it goes around your, like, vaginal opening and comes up towards where your clitoris is into a point. And so all along that area is places where, like, if you're patient and you're breathing and you're slow, can be, like, extremely stimulating. And so what I would do is start anywhere but the clit. Like, ignore it. Literally ignore it. And also, who doesn't love being teased? I'm sure some people don't, but I love it. So, like, lean into the tease. Touch everywhere but. Take the pauses. Touch on size, on everywhere else. And then go back to it until someone is, like, literally begging you to touch that one spot. And so that's how I need to do it if I want to be stimulated directly, that I'm like, I need to be, like, so nearly there that it's going to take about 20 seconds. Otherwise, like, it hurts. It's too much.
Yeah.
And, like, the bundle of nerves that's right there for anyone with a vulva, it's intense. And it's varied for everyone. And I feel like a lot of people go into sex really like, here's the script I've been told to follow.
Yep.
And I'm sure you've had a lot of those conversations.
You have no idea.
And so, like, I appreciate that people are trying to actually find the clit these days. However, there is further to go.
Find it and then lose it again.
Yeah. And, like, have fun. Have fun with it.
Fuck yeah, thank you. What is your favorite style of flirting?
Oh.
Really intense eye contact. You know, like that type of eye contact where it's like you're almost like looking into each other's soul. That type of depth.
So, like, how early can you share that type of eye contact? Like, what's your approach with that? Like, do you build up to it with someone, or like?
I think it's usually like in the beginning, it's just like that innocent kind of just that like looking at each other or like glancing over at each other type innocence.
Yeah, maybe
that
like a little
builds.
smile.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cute. I love that your answer wasn't like a verbal style of flirting. It was, eye contact, which is actually something that's super underrated. And I think like people are terrified of doing it. Like,
They
especially
are.
if you just haven't even spoken to someone yet, right? And you're like in a club or bar or at a festival, you kind of make eye contact. And like, I've heard this described so many times by my friends, and I feel it as well. It's like my friends will be like, yeah, it's like almost the more attracted to someone I am, the less I make eye contact with them. And I basically ignore them and pretend they're not there. And if they try to make eye contact with me, I immediately look away because it's literally painful to hold eye contact. It's so uncomfortable. And I'm like, what? How the fuck is anyone to know if you're
Exactly.
interested, if you don't hold it that little second longer, or maybe like hold it and smile and wait for them to look away? But have you ever fucking tried doing that? Like holding someone's eye contact and waiting for them to look away? Like,
So fucking terrifying,
It's so
but
hard.
it's so hard.
It's so
fucking
hard.
love it. I fucking love it. It's so
yes,
beautiful.
we should challenge ourselves to do that more, I reckon. Like
Absolutely.
everyone listening to this, fucking
Yeah.
make some eye contact.
Yeah, they really do.
Just hold it that little bit longer. It literally like signifies, interest, an openness, like an availability to maybe being approached or having a chat. Like, and I think we need that nowadays, especially like I hear from so many men, they're all terrified of approaching women.
Yeah, definitely.
You need to be sick. And then the women are like, oh, guys don't initiate an approach. And it's like, well, both sides need to be kind of like making a bit of effort to like pave the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, that
But
was a
it's
great
so
one.
beautiful. But I fucking love it.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What has been your favorite sexual experience?
Oh. Okay, I think that one's pretty fucking easy. So it was most definitely when I realized how queer I actually am. And I had like this like really flirty type connection building with my ex. And she ended up coming over on Halloween, and we ended up having like the most intimate, hot fucking sex. And I realized in that moment, like, I love guys, but holy fuck, I really love women. Like, there is something that is so different about the way women have sex with each other compared to like the heteronormative type way. So I think like, my God, that was like literally a 20-year dream come true, honestly.
Oh my God.
It was like 20 years of hiding away from this like, I guess, own internalized homophobia and being terrified of like never finding or meeting the right person to feel that drawn to like connect and have that experience. And when I met Tilda, it was honestly like so fucking incredible. Like it was mind blowing.
Whoa.
It was just like I can't.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
I love that for you. Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed. Makes me want to have sex with a woman. I've never done that. I'm really not very queer, but it sounds fucking dope.
I was in that relationship for 2 fucking years. I never orgasmed that much in a relationship. Like
So good.
fucking incredible.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, those were the perfect 2 questions for you. I'm going to let you get to speed dating. I'm sorry. Why are you here?
I'm here because I heard your latest episodes recorded here, and then I looked into these lovely, lovely events, and now I'm here. And I've just arrived in the last half an hour.
Oh my God.
Burps.
Sorry, I'm doing.
Blow it away.
I had like a garlicky pizza before
Oh,
I
yeah.
came here, and I just keep having to blow the burps away.
Excellent.
Okay, so
Oh, I did
amazing.
burp too.
Great,
Touching.
great, we're killing it.
Right.
So nice. Thank you for coming up and just.
I was so excited. I was wondering if you were going to be here. I was like, oh my God, is Freya going to be here? I feel like maybe I'm in a slight parasocial relationship with you just because of being a big podcast fan for so long.
How long?
at least 3 or 4 years.
Maybe from the start.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I've dug deep. I've looked into your stuff. I've stalked your Instagram. So I think I'm a pretty big fan. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Oh my God. Thanks.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love the way you speak. Super relatable, super like compassionate, but also like funny and silly and like love.
Oh
But like also talk about some real quality shit that's important to talk about. Nah, big fan. Big fan.
Thank you so much. This is just the pick me up I needed.
Great.
Holy shit.
Well, I'm here all the time for compliments. So just tap me on the shoulder and I'll give you. I'll just
Hit
keep
me.
giving you compliments.
Keep them coming. Hit me.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, fuck. Like I feel famous. Thank you so much.
You should feel famous. You're awesome. You should feel famous. Everyone here should know who you are. You're great. You're so inspiring. Like seriously, like yeah. Very expansive person. Very great podcast. And I learned like it's probably not like an easy thing to do and like to keep hustling and to keep making it. It's like I really respect that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And then like yeah, it impacts me in a positive way. So I'm sure that it impacts like so many other people. Just having conversations where you're like, I really value curiosity and I can tell that like you are the same and you're like asking lovely questions and so considered and so like, I don't know, just like non-judgmental. It's awesome. Not anyone could do that kind of thing.
Dude, my face is hurting. I'm smiling so much. I'm like, feels like I've been blowing up balloons.
Yeah.
And when you get sore in there.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Okay, well, enough about me.
Okay.
More about you.
Okay.
Sometimes there's just something burning, just ready to be talked about. Maybe you have a TMI story. Maybe, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
If not, though, I've got backup questions that I thought I'd ask before.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's probably something. In terms of sexy things while we're here and in this space.
Totally.
I don't like to set New Year's resolutions or anything, but I'll choose a word. And this year my word has been security. With lots of different facets of my life, financial, whatever, blah, blah, but definitely like an inner sense of security within myself. As I would say that I'm more anxiously attached, leaning kind of girly in the past. I've been single for the last year and it was kind of, I kind of felt like the rug was swept out from under my feet a little bit. And I thought like, I'm going to be with this person and we're going to have kids and this is the trajectory of my life. And I've had big learnings since that. Of like, no one's really ever in control of anything. And just to like embrace that a bit more. But being single, fucking awesome. I really found my stride. Last year was a bit shit, but now I'm really finding it. And I had some shitty times last year, but now I'm getting like really good at filtering. But I'm really interested in group play stuff. Okay. And I surprised myself last week. There's a couple of single people that I'm dating. A guy and a girl. And then we all caught up and had this most like wholesome threesome ever. It was so nice, like so lovely a couple of weeks ago. And then last week, I surprised myself as I'm usually quite like subby kind of girl. One of the guy in the group, he planted the seed a couple of weeks ago about like, oh, it'd be so hot for you to wear a strap on. And then the girl, when she came over, she had a bag of fun toys, one of which had like a strap on in it. And I put it on. I don't even know who I am anymore. I'm like, who am I? It felt powerful.
Oh my God.
And she came.
Oh my
God.
God.
I was like, and she was like, you're a natural. And I was like, oh, she's like my hip movements and stuff. She was like really into it. Some really hot stuff happening. And I felt like it was so cool because I don't get to see that angle like often.
No.
That like, usually like where a penis is kind of going in or what strap on, whatever. It was hot as.
Oh my God.
It was so hot. And I'm like, I never ever thought that I would be wearing a strap on, and now my little brain is like exploding of like, whoa, cool. All right, sure. We can wear strap-ons.
Okay, fuck yeah, I love this for you. I'm obsessed.
I do love eating ass and vice versa. And he was going down on her at one point, and I was eating his ass, and he was like shuddering because it felt so good. But I really like found this real bossy part of me that was like, don't stop. Like, she's going to come soon. Don't you stop. Even though like he was like dying from pleasure. I was like, don't you stop. And I was like, I really surprised myself with this like real dominating.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
It's like a new level has been unlocked.
Something like that.
And like sometimes I feel like, you know, that can be because of a costume or because of a prop or a toy. I'm like, yeah, you almost like unlocked this archetype of the more sort of Tom flavor.
Yes.
And now you can access that.
Yes, and it's fun.
my
And
God.
I think I'll still probably end up being more sub-leaning, but I do like to play. And that's fun. And like, I have an acting degree that I don't use that much, so I might as well play with that in a sexy space.
100%. Okay, so going back to the strap-on.
Yes.
Were you experiencing pleasure? Like, did it have like something that was working on you at the same time? Or like, what do you get out of it? Is it just visually and the feeling of fucking someone?
Yeah, so there was one that was like that, which we didn't play with, but it was just like literally visually, which I, again, surprised myself. I was really happy. I thought I would feel quite insecure in that setting and feel like, oh no, the guy that I've been sleeping with now sleeping with someone else in front of me. But no, I was like, leaving the room and being like, you guys do whatever. Like, and no, it was just literally like quite visually, arousing. It was just like nice to give. And I actually felt really comfortable in that role of knowing like, I don't know, I was getting a lot, but it just wasn't like physically stimulating.
That's
so much. Yeah.
Because I've always wondered about that.
Yeah.
That's
No,
sick.
it's like really nice. And I think as well, like a deeper sense of gratitude for myself came in and like my own sort of body image stuff where I was like, oh my God, like people are so lucky when they get, like when they're fucking me from all these positions because it's such a beautiful like angle.
Wow.
And I felt like, I don't know, the next time someone else is taking me in those positions, like, I don't know, I felt...
Well, you know what they're seeing now because you've seen it
Yeah.
from that angle.
Yeah, totally.
You can like watch the penetration happening from like a way better angle.
Yeah, totally.
Than like looking down on your own body. You can't really see it.
You
at all.
can't really see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It was really sweet as well because, yeah, the two people I was with, they helped me like get into it and they were tucking in the extra straps and it was like all very wholesome and lots of kisses and stuff. And I was wearing this really dainty like white lacy bra. So there was something about that. And then with the black like straps with the strap on, I was like, ooh, this has got a couple like some different vibes here and I'm kind of about it.
Hey, baby babes. Sorry to interrupt. I just had to pop my head into the lounge here and mention another virtual lounge that I'd love you to get around. It's the Labia Lounge Facebook group that I've created for listeners of the potty to mingle in. There you'll find extra bits and bobs like freebies, behind the scenes, or discounts for offerings from guests who have been interviewed on the podcast. There'll also be, hopefully, inspiring, thought-provoking conversations and support from a community of labial legends like yourself. My vision for this is that it becomes a really supportive, educational and hilarious resource for you to have more access to me and a safe space to ask questions you can't ask anywhere else. So head over to the links in the show notes or look up the Labia Lounge group in Facebook and I'll see you in there. And now, back to the episode.
Okay. Are you working as a consent angel tonight?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And so what made you like get into that type of work? Like,
Consent angel?
yes.
Uh,
Or like, what's your relationship to this scene?
well, I've just always been curious of, experiencing something like this. I've heard about it, seen it online, but yeah, I come from a very conservative family background. So I haven't really been exposed to much and I'm a big fan of exploring. So I had a friend who's also a fire performer.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a fire performer. And she was an angel at one of these events. And she offered me to come join because they had shifts open. And I was like, whoa, all right. really nervous. It was like 2 years ago now. And yeah, I came in not knowing that much. I just, got a phone call with Katie. It was like idea of consent. I'm like, of course, I know consent. I personally think it's something really natural. Like, it's not something I had to actively think about. I'm like, I already have this mindset and mentality on me. And I was like, oh, okay, if I can help, like, I usually don't just like being in an event as a patron. I always like giving something.
You want a party purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I want to.
No, I get it. This is my party purpose.
Right?
Having the Labia Lounge at something, this is my party purpose. I'm contributing. It gives me something to do.
Yeah. Party purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that a term you brought up because there's something you've heard plenty of times?
No, I just made it up. I always talk about having a party purpose, and like a lot of friends who want to check out an event like this, but maybe don't want to go alone or don't know how to dip their toe in. I just say, come with the Labia Lounge. We can have a little posse and you don't even need to do much, but you've always got a little safe haven to come back to. And technically you've got a party purpose because you could be helping me out.
You're coming to do a thing.
You're coming to do a thing. You're part of something. And it's just kind of like, I think that bridges the gap for them so that they can come and experience something like this under, not under the guise, but under the...
With something to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you feel like, a little less awkward because you're like, oh, I'm going there for a thing. I'm doing something at a certain point in time.
Yeah.
I totally get that. That's exactly one of the reasons I am a consent angel, actually. Hard relate.
Yeah.
Why do you want your friends to come to these so often? Like, what is it about this that makes you want to do this?
Yeah, well, I feel like even though it's not my scene and I don't really participate in any of the activities, yeah. I think it's a really powerful, liberating, healing environment for people to be in, especially if I think especially if they're curious, if they want to get over some, stigma or shame around their body or around sex or whatever. And they're like, they've got the personality type that like they do want to push those edges and like learn and grow and sort of expand into new versions of themselves, then like I want to facilitate that if I can. Like I'm so down to be a conduit for that. I think that's the whole thing with my podcast. It's community service, it's activism, it's like what I just naturally want to do. Like if friends are curious and maybe they wouldn't take the leap or it would take them an extra 3 years to finally get the courage or meet somebody that would go with them. I'll just be like, all right, like, well, just come with me. Like, it'll be sweet. Like this,
So you're being a pioneer for your friends, leading the way into new experiences.
Yeah, if I can make that easier or create facilitate that. Because I'm sure people did that for me. And, and I've also had to do it for myself a lot, which is really scary. And it takes a lot of fucking...
Was there someone like yourself that introduced you to a kink event?
No. I'm a sex coach and educator. So this is kind of part of my work. And so I try to go to things, even if I'm not into it personally. Like I'm not kinky, I'm pretty vanilla. But I think it's super valuable to still go to stuff, try stuff, see if you can get around it or understand why other people get around it. It's part of my like professional responsibility, I feel like.
Yeah.
And it's really fascinating and I'm fucking really nerdy about this stuff. So I love...
Have you been to one of these events before?
Heaps. I've done heaps of these podcast episodes.
In Virtual Advice?
Yeah. Yeah, and there's an episode that's a reflection, like me talking about my first ever experience coming to one of these on my own, just to check it out, to see if it would be good to set up the Labia Lounge here. And that was
You've been doing it ever since?
Yeah, pretty much.
Very nice.
Okay. When was the last time you made a move on someone or tried to pick someone up?
When was the last time I made a move someone to pick someone up?
And like, what's your go-to sort of approach?
I don't know. I talk. I ask. I'm in a conversation. And it's not also what you say, but how you say. It's like, there's a whole process. You never go from meeting someone to having sexual relations with them. It's like a whole journey where you're constantly checking in on each other and seeing what you want out of this communication. this conversation. And yeah, it's like a natural flow. So I ask and talk and check their energy, and I'm always very aware of the other person.
We had a dabble, a couple of years ago?
A couple of years ago,
That's when
yeah.
we started off.
We kind of got into it a bit hard and fast, and had heaps of fun.
Well, we got our willy wet, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And then we took a little bit of a hiatus. I think we got it out of our system for a bit, and then we just felt like
We went
getting back on the
overseas for a
scene.
bit, came home, was super busy, so now we had a bit more free space, and we thought we'd dabble into it again, have a bit more fun, meet some new cool people, and
And do you always find people that you want to play with?
No, not always.
And then do you just hang out together instead if you don't find
hang
anything?
out together a lot of time, play together. If we find someone really cool that we get along with, that can build a connection with, then it's on the table for us. But yeah, it's hard finding someone that you get along with really well, but are also sexually attracted to them.
And both of you have to be sexually attracted to them.
So I guess one of the things that really drew us to the party scene was being able to curate some FFM dynamics. We tried the apps and just the whole process of flicking through people doesn't resonate with either of us. It's so much nicer to come into a space where you have the opportunity to connect with people organically. But yeah, it's then finding a girl who's mutually attracted to both of us as well. So you have to really try and find that perfect triangle. When it happens, it's amazing.
Okay, so in the perfect scenario, you're here tonight. Like, if you met someone, are you here to play with them tonight, or do you make the connection and then you you make plans outside of this? Or is it you guys only really play with other people on site?
I think, if the opportunity arises, play with them at the event, and possibly if the connection is good, organise, something else afterwards, privately in our own time, which is also nice, curating your own experiences, in a comfortable environment.
We have a juicy story for when we have...
Yeah, curating your own experiences.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Tell me that juicy story.
When we were at a monkey club once, we hit it off with another girl who... One of the tricky things about the intimate spaces is when you start having a sexual experience with someone else, it's quite easy for a lot of other people to gravitate around you. And especially the events where single guys are allowed to come, they're like moths to a flame. So we ended up locking ourselves in the bathroom with this girl, and me and her are making out. Matt's going down on both of us at the same time. We had this incredible synchronized orgasm. It's guy bashing on the door can I come in? And we're like, no.
This was the guy she came with, by the way. Yeah.
But they weren't together. They were just having as our playmates. So we hit it off with her, and then we ended up curating our own experience at home and inviting her over one night. And we had a big joint bubble bath, and then we had a fun threesome. And that was really great. We haven't stayed in touch with her since, but I loved being able to just have that whole night of just the three of us, no other distractions. So you come to a place like here, there's a lot going on.
So much going on. Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to really set the mood, have some of that slow physical bonding. And the bubble bath was so much fun. I put so much bubble bath liquid in it, and then we turned the jets on. It was overflowing, gushing.
Oh
it's
my God.
Bubbles.
I suppose half the fun is trying new things together and, seeing what actually makes the both of you tick and what you enjoy. There's things that we had tried that didn't really enjoy that much, and it's hey, well, all right, that's fine. It was fun for what it was, but we know actually what, we enjoy together. So
we were go to a restaurant and seeing the menu, and your default is to always just go for the things that that familiarity. Because you're I know I'm going to like that. And it's but how do I know that I'm not going to like this other dish on the menu unless I try it? So it's about stretching and expanding that comfort zone, and it's really made us up level our communication as well. Because as much as that threesome was really fun, and it's lasted as fantastic wank material, on the other hand, it also pushes you to a lot of edges. Putting your relationship in a situation like that will show you the places where that relationship or yourself is not yet free. So you've got to have you got to have a good communication system before and also afterwards.
Also
You know?
during too.
Yeah. During can be a big one. Like I've had to, especially coming into these spaces, really learn how to advocate for myself. Saying no can feel really hard if you're not used to having to do it. And you can come into a space and get approached by a lot of men quite quickly. So having to learn how to politely say that that's not what you want, that was hard, I would say, to begin with. But each time you're like, okay, I can say no, and I'm going to be all right, and they're going to be all right. So it's okay. Like learning how to, I think, to play within your own like desire is really important. I've definitely found at parties before I've gone along with things because that's just what's happening in the moment. And then I look back at it and I'm like, I don't know how much I really got out of that. And then the more recent part of me went to, I like really set a boundary about, you know what, this is what I want to do right now. And I came away from that experience feeling so much better, like more empowered, like you get a certain level of enjoyment from like honoring where you're at and what you do want to do. And just because you're at a party doesn't mean that you have to go to like fourth base with everybody.
Totally.
Because you can have a relationship to sex where it's like a fun activity, but also there's still an element of sacredness there. You know?
That's beautiful. And like, I feel like as the hosts of like, so just going back to like curating your own experiences, inviting someone in, like as hosts, like imagine what a special experience you've provided someone because they get a fucking sick bubble bath. They get to like experience like the intimacy that you guys have like built and curated and cultivated and like nurtured for years. And like to share that is a really special thing, you know? Yeah. That must be a cool thing to get to like do together, navigate together and be able to offer together. And then, you know, she leaves and you guys can kind of have your aftercare and your like closing and I don't know, it's like, yeah, it sounds really beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty wholesome. Yeah.
So when you were saying that there are things that you just sometimes try to see if you'd like it, sometimes you're not into it, has anything surprised you that you just thought, oh, you know, a different thing on the menu that you wouldn't normally order?
Oh, I love it.
We had a foursome and it was more of like a couple swap than a kind of pile, I suggest. Like everyone kind of pleasuring everyone. So we found that wasn't as kind of rewarding at the end as we thought it might have been. Fun at the time, but it wasn't. There was a separation in the connection between us because it was a swap rather than, you know, a combined effort from all four. So I think we found that quite interesting and that it was a dynamic that probably, I don't know. What would you say on that?
It was not that it was an anticlimax, but I think, especially if you watch porn and you watch group sex, you see them switching things up all the time. And actually trying to put that into practice in reality takes quite a lot of orchestration and communication. So when we ended up having a foursome, it did end up just being like a direct couple swap. And I was like, okay, I'm very interested in watching him with someone else. But I find it distracting if I'm also then with someone else as well because your attention's really swayed. And you're trying to focus on too many things at once. Totally. So that was interesting. But again, like, that's not something I'd be in a rush to do again, which I guess kind of is what that, like, classic, like, swingers category goes into.
True, yeah. What about, like, anything that you didn't think you'd be into that surprised you that you're, like, now really, really about?
What have you tried?
Sex is kind of like food for me. I will try everything because you don't know. And I have an insatiable appetite. So, you know, I'll give everything a go and not much is off the cards for me. But in saying that, I like to have experiences with Lizzie. And the reason why we've kind of steered towards FFM is because it's more of a sensual act with the two females because there's two females, you know, it's more, way more sensual. Whereas when there's more guys or two guys, it's generally revolves more around the dick rather than pleasuring of the women, which I'm all about, pleasure and pleasing. So I love that sensual energy. Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised. I always got a bit intimidated by the idea of being in a dynamic where it's two guys and you're the only woman. I guess I worried about like the idea of like being overpowered in a way. And then we had an incident recently where that was a scenario, but I'd set some boundaries with the other person involved, and I was surprised just how much I enjoyed that. I was like, oh, it's actually nice being like surrounded by like strong but healthy masculine energy and being the one who's like piggy in the middle. That surprised me again because I just originally I've got a number of friends who that's their like number one fantasy is to be in a dynamic where there's two guys, and that had never really done it for me. But actually, my real life experience of it definitely got me more interested. To try that again. Yeah.
Okay.
I think because it was less intimidating in real life than I'd built up the idea of it being in my head.
You don't know until you try.
Huh?
Said you don't know until you try.
Yeah, you don't know you try. But we've been at when you come to a party like this, and it makes you realise just how kind of vanilla we are. So there's definitely still a lot of experimentation to be had. But yeah, seeing what else is out there makes me feel a little bit braver about, like seeing what else I could like. I tend to come to these parties like I enter into relationships where I'm like, show me something I don't already know about myself. Just trying to be curious.
That's a fucking soundbite.
Yeah,
that was
it's a good
deep.
intention.
Yeah.
Like it allows you just to be open. It's like I just want to learn something like new that I don't already know.
I love that. That's some serious shit to live by.
Yeah. And I'd say one of my biggest takeaways from this was one of our most exciting experiences for today was seeing a girl on her all fours. She had this stunning fishnet outfit on and a corset. And the guy who was playing with her had almost like a cat o' nine tails, but instead of like leather strands, it was chainmail, and it was passing an electric current through it, and then gently running that over her body. And just seeing her her gentle response to the small electric shocks was really captivating, because it wasn't an obvious ouch that must really hurt. You're like, ooh, that's like tantalizing.
Whoa.
That was really tasteful. I was really surprised by how aroused I was at that.
So did you just enjoy watching that, or do you think you would enjoy receiving that?
I'd be tempted to give that a go. I think far more than like a heavy flogging.
Yeah. Fucking oath.
I think because that for me it brings in that idea of like edging.
Yeah.
And I've always had this fantasy, and it's yet to happen. I've told multiple men about these, about sitting on like almost like a teacher's desk, legs akimbo, and having someone slapping me with a ruler, until you're really close. And they're like, nah, not yet, and they just keep playing until you get to that point where you're edging. But you're not allowed to go all the way. You're just getting that light slap from that ruler. I don't know how many times that girl's got to ask. But I think I had a name for, what was the name for it? Where like, convertibility, where you're using like everyday objects and converting them. Then convertible, when you're taking an everyday object and converting it into like a sexy toy.
Hey, is that the term? Convertibility.
Yeah, convertible. So when it's like a cucumber or a texter or a ruler.
Okay. Yeah. So many things you can appropriate into sex toys. All right. Well, it looks like you got your work cut out for you. You're going to have to find an old school like school desk.
Excuse this quick interruption. I'm shamelessly seeking reviews and 5-star ratings for the potty because, as I'm sure you've noticed by now, it's pretty fab, and the more people who get to hear it, the more people I can help with it. Reviews and ratings actually do make a big difference to this little independent podcaster, and it's really easy to just quickly show your support by taking that simple act of either leaving 5 stars for the show on Spotify, or even better, writing a written review and leaving 5 stars over on Apple Podcasts. Or if you're a real overachiever, you can do them both. That would be mad. If you're writing a review, though, just be sure to use G-rated words, because despite the fact that this is a podcast about sexuality, words like sex can be censored and your review won't make it through the gates. Lame. Anyway, I would personally recommend doing that right now while you're a member, just to get on top of it and let me know you're with me on this journey. Thanks, gang. Enjoy the rest of the epi.
Okay, so You just told me that the first time ever you orgasmed,
Yeah.
you squirted.
Yeah,
Oh my God, babe.
I know. It
How
was
was
hectic.
that?
It was really hectic because I was actually with I just left my first love, and we had sex. I lost my virginity to him, but then
You hadn't had an orgasm with him.
I hadn't had an orgasm with him. No,
Had you had one
I
with
hated
yourself?
sex. I hated sex with him. I was like,
Same with-
well, I lost my virginity to him, and I thought, ew, why is everyone banging on about sex? It's not great at all. Like, it sucks.
Did you masturbate and had you had an orgasm with
Not
yourself?
really, no.
Okay,
No,
so
I
this is
hadn't.
actually your first orgasm.
Yes,
Wow.
yes. So I hadn't orgasmed with myself. I wasn't really much of an exploring kind of teenager. I was a late bloomer and everything, like period, kissing, boyfriends, sex. I lost my virginity at 21 or something. That's pretty, late-ish. And then, so when we broke up, I started dating someone who I just had a really nice emotional connection with. He was 4 years older than me. And I just hung out at his house one night and we got really intimate and I just lost it. I was like, whoa, it really came up on me really quickly, the orgasm, and I freaked out. I actually fully freaked out. I squirted everywhere and I was I panicked. And thank God he knew what that was. I didn't know what that was.
Dude,
So
thank God, because I've heard stories where someone squirted and the guy had not known what that was and was like,
yeah.
ew, you pissed the bed.
Yeah. Well, I thought I pissed in the bed and he knew exactly what was going on. Thank God. And he was so loving and tender. And he was like, it's okay. It's natural. And I was like, what the fuck just happened to me? I don't remember. I didn't remember what happened. I came so hard. I just lost memory. I went through the stratosphere. And that's such a good first
Oh my God.
orgasm.
What was he doing?
I don't even remember.
Oh my God.
I was so present. I was just so present in my body. And he was too. And we were like, okay, that was a thing. And I thought I ruined his bed. I was like, I'm so sorry. And he's like, babe, it's the hottest thing I've seen in my life. And I was like, this is hot. And we had this full debrief about it. And we continued to have great sex for months and it was great. And I was like, okay, I like sex now. I see what everyone's going on about.
Oh my God. That's epic.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, you've just been squirting all the time.
It's actually kind of annoying.
Yeah.
I don't squirt with everyone, but if I'm genuinely in pleasure, which can't be with everyone sometimes, but if I'm authentic and in pleasure, I squirt, and that's pretty much most times. So it gets a bit annoying with sheets and
Totally.
I think that's why I don't come a lot these days because I worry a lot and I'm kind of we're in this great space right now. I would love to be intimate with someone eventually, but I really worry about coming hard and just fucking up the space, which is a really weird. It's a problem to have. It's a problem for me. It genuinely is.
It would be for me as well if I was a regular squirter like that. And I've heard many people say how inconvenient it is. And yeah, I think I wouldn't be able to just fully relax and
yeah.
let go. When you've got to factor in where am I, what surface am I on,
Totally.
do
Who
I
am I with as well?
Yeah.
Sometimes people, yeah. Yeah, that's the shadow side of it for me, for sure. And then the other side is wow, it's really liberating. But that's also, I think there's shame there for me a bit around it because, there are some people who don't like it or some people who don't know what it is. And, you don't know sometimes until it's happening. Yeah.
Surely at this age, though, everyone that you're
Surely.
with, fucking knows what squirting is and is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I usually, at this age, early 20s, no. But, as I got to 28 zone, and now I'm 30 something, it's really, it's not really a problem with people. Yeah, I used to love it a bit more when I was younger, maybe because it was new and exciting. But I think now as I'm older, I get a little bit frustrated with it. And that's just the truth. Like, and I think because of that, sometimes my sexuality has been held back. Like I've held myself back many, many times.
Yeah, totally.
So
the commitment every time you come.
Yeah, like shout out to fucking Rosie Rees who made that Yoni splash blanket. It seriously saves my life. Like, when she launched those, I bought like 3, and I literally buy a new one every year, and it's the best gift I give myself because it means orgasms. You know, like clean sheets and orgasms.
Dude, that is such an epic shout out. Oh my God. Rosie actually gave me a couple of blankets ages ago when I met up with her. I lived in Perth briefly. And I think I was going to do like a splash blanket promo on the body at some point.
Yeah.
But I don't know, whatever happened, it didn't.
Oh man, I'll do a promo.
But we just did one.
Yeah, exactly.
We just did one. Mid roll. That's great.
Big promo. Yeah, they save me. They really do. I take them camping. I take them doofing. I take them there in every bed in the house. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Love it.
Okay, so for the final little section of this episode, I have a post-party chat that I had with an amazing couple who I met at the event. And when they'd come back to finally sit down and record, I had packed up and was done for the night because my voice starts sounding like this. But basically, when they arrived, they'd come up to say hello and just let me know that they'd sort of been listening to the podcast, and it was Marty's birthday. And so Susanna had bought for a birthday present the tickets to the Virtue and Vice event. They'd got an Airbnb nearby, and they were telling me it was their first night away from their kids, just the 2 of them in 16 years. They've got 3 kids. How fucking incredible is that? I was beside myself, very excited for them, very, very keen to help. I think actually maybe it was them that coined the term Sherpa, like a sex party Sherpa. That was the role that I was playing, which I love. I like just bridging the gap for anyone that wants to come and dip their toe in, but maybe it would feel a little bit too daunting to just be cold turkey. That's why I put out these episodes, to make it a little bit more sort of accessible and feel a little bit less foreign and scary. But anyway, so just, it was such a delight to chat to, and we had some really good talks over the night, and they hit me up after the event and were open to being recorded to give their reflections of their first sex party experience, which is pretty fucking impressive given, they've come from a bit of a culty religious upbringing, very strict, complex PTSD, neurodivergence. Like there's a lot of intersecting factors that make it even more special and incredible and just impressive that they're pushing their edges and delving into these spaces and just seeing where they can challenge themselves or debunk, unhelpful conditioned narratives, remove the shame, remove the stigma, and just pave their own way. I just always find that really awesome. And that's why I plug these type of events, because they can be very healing, actually, to be in such a liberated, open-minded, accepting environment when it comes to nudity and sex and things like that. So this is my chat with them, just unpacking their experience. Thank you again to everyone who participated in this episode and all of my previous episodes from the Virtue and Vice events. I'll leave you to it. Okay, well, I'm just so curious about, the sort of time that you had. I want to hear about your experience and unpack that. Do you want to kind of set up some context though around how we met and what we sort of already covered?
Yeah, I think the coolest thing was that you were actually there, which kind of blew my mind a little bit, because I think going to Virtue and Vice was something that we'd both sort of thought about on and off over the years, and, you might have mentioned here and there, how cool this would be or how much of a turn on that would be, but never actually really considered it. And then, yeah, because Marty was having a 50th birthday, I was like, fuck it, let's do another, once in a lifetime thing and save up for that. So part of that decision making, I think, was obviously I Googled it to look at reviews and to try and see what we could expect. And that's when we found your podcast. And I think that kind of really sealed it for me to be able to hear about those different aspects and feel a little bit more confident and a bit less terrified. But yeah, I think that was, what kind of started it.
Yeah, and I think the podcast's how you interviewed people, but also from your own perspective and stuff like that, helped, I guess, a lot of the unknown be a bit more comfortable too. So that was really good that way. And then it was something that we both listened to, and then we could discuss, and then Susanna would be listening to a different episode to me or something, and then she'd be like, oh, you need to listen to this bit. And so, yeah, I think that's probably on the night getting to meet you as well sort of helped make it a bit more familiar, because we felt like we knew of you. So, and then you were a bit of our tour guide for the night about, this is where this happens, where that happens, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, that probably helped us ease into it and feel a bit more comfortable as well.
And I think, like I mentioned to you on that night, that I suppose for a little bit of context behind why it was such a bit more of a far out, bigger step than it might be for, a lot of other people, was that, both of us obviously had upbringings in the times, the 80s, where things were, pretty shit when it comes to, I guess, everything really, not learning anything about yourself or about relationships or consent. But also I was in an incredibly strict religious, almost cult-like upbringing for a long time. And, a lot of domestic violence and all of that sort of thing. So for me, it's been, the last couple of decades, well, longer actually, it's been a lot of, coming to terms with a lot of things, trying to do a lot of healing, complex PTSD, then finding out we're all autistic and all of that sort of stuff. So, yeah, so this kind of thing was like a massive step, but something that the biggest thing for me, I think, is the feeling I had at the club overall was one of feeling kind of honoured to be able to be witness to and part of everyone and everything that was there. And I think the other thing that really stood out to me, and I think to Marty as well when we were talking later, was the overall feeling of respect from everyone. That was like really huge, I think, for me.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah.
I guess, we got to the end of the night and there was no issues, there was no conversations that made us awkward and stuff like that. Like, everyone just sort of did their own thing, and I don't know how many people went and knew other people already and that sort of stuff. Like, there seemed to be lots of different groups of people as well. So
yeah, it was overall, it was a really incredible experience, and I'm incredibly glad we went. And I think that it kind of made us become even closer. But also there were so many moments that I was just, awestruck or profoundly moved by some of the relationships and the interactions, and it was just fascinating, and it was just so beautiful, and it was kind of sacred, even though it was public-ish. But I just couldn't get enough of watching that interaction and connection and the beauty and the trust and all of that between the people that were doing that. And it was just, I actually went up to one couple that put on a shibari type display and thanked them for providing that experience and told them how incredible it was and how it touched me so deeply. It was just so incredible. I probably keep saying the same word over and over, but I think the other thing we talked about too is the double-edged sword that, the whole, I don't know, being amongst a lot of people and opening yourself up to such profound vulnerability and how beautiful that is, because it kind of has an impact of helping you feel more accepted and more in an accepting environment, and being able to provide that acceptance for others as well. And then part of me also wondered about the other side of that, where, does that kind of exposure and being able to witness a lot of those things, does that impact on, your sensitivity and your ability for fulfillment, and does it, increase that need for input in those kinds of ways? And, I don't know, all of this stuff just going through our heads, and it was just so fascinating. And, it got a lot more intense as the night went on as well, didn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Well, that's kind of what I'm curious about, because the last time I saw you, so when you first arrived, you came and said hello, and we had a little drop in to sort of, help you ease into the event. And then not too long after that, I saw you guys again, and there'd been a pretty graphic sex scene happening on the podium in the center, which was pretty early in the night for that to be happening in the sort of public space. So I was like, oh, how are you guys going? This is a pretty big jump from, the normal environment you'd be in. Is it too intense? Is it fun? How are you going? And then after we sort of had a really amazing chat on the couch, which I'm so sad we didn't record, I would love to delve a little bit into what we covered around you discovering your autism and your children's, and how you guys have all been kind of working together and helping each other learn, and the kids are showing you guys new things, and that whole thing was very heartening. And I loved hearing about how you're, parenting and all of that, but then, sent you back out into the wild. And then I think when you came back to give me the update, I'd already clocked off, or I was on a break and I wasn't there. So I didn't hear about the sort of second half of your night, which is generally, for everyone, it takes a few hours to sort of drop in and ease themselves into the space. And then in that final couple of hours of the event, it's almost like things hit a totally different pitch, and everyone starts getting a lot more involved in the more explicit stuff, and kind of making the most of their time before the lights all come back on and we all get kicked out. So, sure. Talk me through your second half of the night and what you got up to, what you saw, what really stood out to you.
What did you think?
Yeah, well, we sort of did a bit of a tour of the different rooms and stuff, and we ended up sitting at the back of one of the smaller rooms on the chairs there, and it was just the DJ and people dancing and stuff, and it was all just like a club, but, people wearing a bit less clothing and stuff like that. And then we came back out of that and sat in the main area and watched some stuff for a bit, and then we went back there, and like you said, the whole mood and everything had changed. There's just bodies everywhere.
It was gosh, there was ramrodding, there was, fuck me, almost 69 chain things going on. There was people leading people around by their penis, and, it's so many dicks out, and, and then in the sort of more bondagey, furniture-y type room, there were, the same kind of thing, blowjobs and, oh my gosh, it was interesting and fascinating, and just
right,
because I think even leading up to the night, it took quite a lot of preparation and a lot of discussions between us, and we spoke about and set our intentions, and what our hard lines were, what our I'm okay with this and this and this. So I think there was a lot of build up and a lot of lead up, and then
In terms of your sort of agreements and guidelines that you went in with, what were your intentions, and do you feel like you fulfilled those intentions? Did you kind of push any edges or discover anything new about yourselves in that environment?
Yeah, I think one of the a couple of the big intentions were, apart from it being, an adventure and an experience and a shared thing as a couple, the other aspect was another experience around acceptance and body image and that sort of supportive, accepting environment and how much that can impact your own, empowering. So that was like one of the, and I would say we definitely met those intentions, and we both came away having felt that experience as well. And I think, what some of the bigger parts were just being aware of and considering the different aspects and possibilities that might come up that could be, triggering or cause difficulty in, I guess, one thing we decided was no alcohol at all for either of us or any other substances. So that helped to, as much as it can kind of help you feel a little bit more comfortable, I was concerned about, the disinhibition that could, impact on some of our agreements and things like that.
That's smart.
Involuntarily, yeah. So,
yeah, I think probably like we'd sort of said to you on the night too, that a couple of years ago, Susanna had organised a boudoir session, and then we got all the photos and things done, and then we did that again the following year because we liked it so much, and it was a good thing for our connection and stuff as well, but feeling comfortable in our bodies and stuff like that. So then I guess this was a different version of that, of going to the club and being around, for want of a better word, like-minded people, but I don't know that it was all my cup of tea for the night. But,
no, well, I mean...
But the acceptance, I guess, was the big thing there.
Open-minded people.
Yeah, nobody batted an eyelid at anyone really about what they were wearing or doing, or, people just walked past like it was someone else on the street type thing, which was pretty interesting. Like, I guess what you've said, you get there and it does take you a couple of hours to really settle into it. Like, I think when we were first walking around, Susanna was looking over my shoulder and I was looking over her shoulder a little bit type thing and then next thing she's like, oh no, we can sit down and watch this bit and that sort of stuff. So I guess feeling more comfortable that these things are okay was probably the change over the night too that was interesting.
And I think everyone being so polite, like, if they did bump you on the way past, even though you're in a tiny corridor, they'd, apologise and things like that. And, I think I got whacked with a automatic wagging tail at one point, which was pretty cool. And the muzzle was a good, extra part to the outfit and the ears. But, all of the different interests and passions and
for the diversity of it, there was so much accepting across the board. Like, it didn't matter if you were dressed different or had different, like, everybody just went, that's cool, that's fine.
Something that I've spoken about with a few friends is, like, it's so interesting, especially in the kink space, but I would say, like, in general, people that are attracted to these parties, because there's, like, a fun theme with costumes. Like, it's kind of the intersection between, like, the festival and doof scene and, the non-monog swingers scene and the kind of the kink scene and the nerdy sort of neurodivergent scene. There's a lot of people who are kinky that are also neurodivergent, and so in that space it's like really inclusive. But the funny thing is, like, even though I would say like a huge proportion of the people that go are neurodivergent, I couldn't think of a more overstimulating environment. It's so hectic.
There's such a huge crossover between, I mean, neurodivergent's one of those words that I know for myself and some of my friends, we kind of are moving a little bit into that a bit more in that we're more specific, because neurodivergent is such a massive population and it's anywhere from, PTSD and trauma and to, different types of mental health differences. It could be, epilepsy, autism, ADHD, all of this kind of pot, So I think that's why I sort of, in our case, I mean, we have mixtures of kind of like an alphabet soup. It's, autistic, there's ADHD, complex PTSD, then we have OCD and eating differences and all of these sorts of different things.
And this is you and your 2 kids?
And yeah, we have 3 kids, but one of them's older and in another state, but still very gorgeous and part of our lives. But yeah, so there's, all of that sort of thing going on. So that was also a little bit of a concern because, clubs ultimately tend to be quite loud and yeah, sometimes there's not very nice smells going on and there's people in your face and whatever. But I think the biggest things that I found were the sound, but it got so much louder later in the night. So that was almost unbearable for me. And I could have brought my ear plug things, but then it's hard to talk as well.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing that I struggled with were the smells. I think like halfway through the night I realised that they were, and I'd read about the different smells that the club puts out, I think as part of the sensory erotic sort of thing. I mean, I might be misremembering.
Is that a thing?
I think so. I think I remember reading it, but maybe it's not at all of them, but I definitely was picking up on this particular smell in all of the areas. But then there were also some other ones that would kind of just hit me, and they were consistent throughout the night, but probably got a bit stronger. So I was feeling incredibly nauseated, but still trying to sort of, let go of those sensations, as well as the, being in this completely different space to anything we've ever experienced before, and still be able to be present and in the moment and, be a little bit handsy and a bit, some make-outs with my husband, that kind of thing. So, yeah, but, I mean, a lot of those are kind of expected, and it's difficult to find spaces that, cater to this kind of scene but don't have quite the heavy sensory input. But, yeah, that's the thing, a lot of different interests and, experiences with sexual identities and relationships all tend to be really highly crossed over with autistic people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's really interesting that you tend to probably feel even more of that acceptance and that kind of community feeling because you have happened across people that, are of a similar mindset in those ways as well.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't realize that do you know what types of scents they said that they were releasing?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up, and I might be misremembering, but I thought I read something about smells and sounds that all promote the, erotic sort of sensual kind of thing.
I wonder what smells they would be.
There was one room we went into and I was like, and this was when things had gotten like really full on, and there were, threesomes over there with swinging dicks, and then there was, blowjobs over there and all sorts of lovely different activities. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's an extra smell in here and I'm not coping with it. And it smells like smegma.
Oh, yeah.
But then later on in the next room, I went, nope, I know exactly what it smelled like. It smelled like protein shake ejaculation. So when
oh my god,
gagging, because when ejaculate has a very different smell about it when someone's using protein shakes. It's not bad or terrible. It's just a very distinct smell, and when there's a decent amount of it in a room amongst other sensual smells,
oh my god,
that was hilarious.
Oh my god, that would absolutely fuck me up. I'm so sensitive to smell, and if it's like if it's someone and you're sleeping with, that's one thing. But if it's an anonymous, miscellaneous smell that could be coming from multiple people, or
for
I
sure.
don't know.
And then not having any shoes on, I was like, what the fuck am I going to step in?
Oh my
it's going to be a smegma pool.
Yeah, it would be really cool if there was, and maybe there is, I don't know, I'm not the authority on this, but it'd be cool if there were
play parties specifically designed for neurospicy, sensorily sensitive people, for like sensory seekers and people that are sensory sensitive, like there being different spaces in the venue or something like that. Because there's a few venues that are popping up that are specifically designed for the neurodiverse community, which is really cool. They're a lot more like sensitive to the different needs that there might be in their clientele, and that's been really cool to see those becoming a little bit more common. And so, yeah, I wonder what a sex party like that would look like.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
I guess I kind of liken it to, it's an incredibly different scenario, but sensory friendly movies. And just being in there, like, it's like your whole body can just relax because you're not combating so much random stuff coming at you, and it's not so, but I can imagine it'd be something like that where it would take away a lot of those, I mean, even barriers to sort of being able to be yourself and really experience it.
Totally.
Hey, me again. If you'd like to support the potty and you've already given it 5 stars on whatever platform you're listening on, I want to mention that you can buy some really dope merch from the website and get yourself a Labia Lounge tote, tee, togs. Yep, you heard that right. I even have Labia Lounge bathers. Or a cute fanny pack if that'd blow your hair back. So if fashion isn't your passion, though, you can donate to my Buy Me a Coffee donation page, which is actually called Buy Me a Soy Chai Latte, because I'll be the first to admit I'm a bit of a Melbourne cafe tosser like that. And yes, that is my coffee order. You can do a once-off donation or an ongoing membership and sponsor me for as little as 3 fat ones a month. And I also offer one-on-one coaching and online courses that'll help you level up your sex life and relationship with yourself and others in a really big way. So every bit helps because it ain't cheap to put out a sweet podcast into the world every week out of my own pocket. So I will be undyingly grateful if you support me and my biz financially in any of these ways. And if you like, I'll even give you a mental BJ with my mind from the lounge itself. Saucy. I'll pop the links in the show notes. Thank you. Later.
I loved chatting to you guys about your journey with kind of deconditioning some of that religious upbringing stuff and like trying to push yourselves into new spaces to kind of heal and overcome that shame and stigma, become more comfortable in your body, all of this. And also just like how that's coincided with bringing up children and just your kind of like family dynamic really fascinated me and made me feel like so excited that, parents like you existed. So like, I don't know if you want to share anything about that, but that was just a really cool conversation that I enjoyed having. And I was just so thrilled to kind of hear about, how open-minded you are and how you've both just been very much, open to being taught things by your kids, because I feel like that's not always the case with parents. But kids in this generation, especially if they're grappling with their own, sexual orientation and gender identity and neurotype, like those are the fucking kids that can teach you some shit,
Oh, for sure. They are just the most incredible things in our lives. I think it's almost like a revolving door kind of educational cycle between us, where because they are so onto knowing things, and I might listen to a particular song and one will be like, "Mum, nope, they're problematic. You can't listen to them." You're like, "Oh, cool, tell me about it. I want to know." And great big conversations about dynamics between different relationships in movie stars and all of that sort of thing, but all of the cultural stuff that, we grew up just with different statements and comments, and now knowing where they originate from, being able to pick ourselves up on that and, be able to know this kind of stuff and then change how we approach things. But I think for me, one of the biggest moments was probably when one of our children went to school and experienced a lot of trauma, and that's when she was diagnosed as autistic, and so then all the rest of us followed. It was kind of one of those moments where, like, oh, fuck, my whole life actually makes sense now. And experiencing that trauma with her and being ostracized and bullied and victimized in trying to be her support and advocate in those educational settings really had a massive impact. And we had to start homeschool from pretty much the end of prep. That's as far as she got. And I think it was, a massive learning curve in that I realized that all of my instincts and my experiences and the ways that I just automatically parented based on going with the flow and noticing what they need and what they don't, it kind of, it was really validating, I guess, and empowering, because those were the very things that I'd been, ostracized about in the educational system, in advocating for my kids.
The world's so different from when we grew up too. They can probably learn, and apply it to sex ed or whatever you want. Everything we learned across the entire time we went to school, and it wasn't great then anyway, but they can spend 10 minutes on an iPad and find out more than we did and tell us the correct information.
I mean, we're pretty weird. We have genital posters in our toilet as well as other body systems, but, because I guess we were talking about sex ed and stuff earlier this morning, and, our experiences of it and how shit it was and how different it is now. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Sorry, I cut you off.
No, it's just, and they probably know as much about what's happening in the world in their own way as we do. Like, we're all trying to keep up with all the changes and everything else now. So I guess that's why we're so open to the fact that they can teach us as much as we can teach them. It's that back and forth too.
Fuck yeah. So we should wrap this up, but is there anything that you guys want to kind of, like, just as a recap of your night or something that you're taking away, or anything else you wanted to kind of talk about on the pod?
For us, I think we were both talking about how it's definitely deepened our connection, just having such a profound experience together, but also that whole acceptance and community, just the opportunity to have that in such a respectful and safe place, I think.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you don't know until you know, and like going and actually experiencing some of these things versus what you've heard elsewhere or what someone else has put in movies and everything else. That's, I guess, when you really get to understand more about your preferences or interests and stuff like that too. So not that everything's your cup of tea, but sometimes you've got to try it first and decide from there too. Some stuff you might know straight up based on other intuitions and feelings, but I think that's where it was pretty interesting to just be amongst a lot of it for the night too. And we probably took different things from different parts of it as well that will apply to ourselves. So I think that was really good too.
Did you guys get amongst it? Like, did you sort of push yourselves out of your comfort zone a little bit? Did you sort of engage together, like, while you were there in like the sort of public fuck spaces, or were you mostly just watching to sort of dip your toe in?
Yeah, we had a bit of, some makeout sessions and a bit of, some handsy stuff, but yeah, it was all, I think there was a lot that I sort of had to get past to be able to do very much of that. So, yeah.
Do you think you'll go again?
That's a current discussion. I think, like we sort of said, because, you can get caught up in some of that stuff. Like, one of the other things Susanna did for me was we went paragliding. And it's like when you land, it's like, oh, that was so much fun. Would you do it again? That sort of stuff. So it's almost like let the dust settle and come back to it in a week type thing, and then
it can take me months to process stuff too. I'll be still coming up with stuff in months yet. So but we have
fair enough.
Yeah,
but I think it's all up for discussion at this point.
Yeah, cool, amazing. And that's it, darling hearts. Thanks for stopping by the Labia Lounge. Your bum groove in the couch will be right where you left it, just waiting for you to sink back in for some more double L action next time. If you'd be a dear and subscribe, share this episode, or leave a review on iTunes, then you can pat yourself on the snatch, because that's a downright act of sex-positive feminist activism, and you'd be supporting my vision to educate, empower, demystify, and destigmatize with this here podcast. I'm also always open to feedback, topic ideas that you'd love to hear covered, questions or guest suggestions, so feel free to get in touch via my website or over on Insta. You can also send me in TMI stories to be shared anonymously on the pod. My handle is FreyaGraff_the Labia Lounge, if my account hasn't been deleted for being too sex positive, which, is always a possibility with censorship. But just in case the chronic censorship finally does obliterate my social channels, I'd highly recommend going and joining my mailing list and snagging yourself some fun freebies for the trouble at www.freyagraff.com/freebies. Anyway, later, labial legends. See you next time.